Praise be to the blessed Zunki. Disco Mute here with a second video, which is entitled Why I Was Wrong, Why I Believe Now That My First Video Was Wrong. For those of you who didn't see the first video, and I think most of you probably have, after the fact came out, we had this thing here to essentially say that slain models were no longer going on the ends of ranks. If the elves charge, Saurus and kill 5, Saurus 1, Saurus 6, Saurus 5, Saurus 10 would die at least, and then one more because it came from the ends of the fighting ranks. The fact said, no, 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 it's the first fighting rank falls first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 would die. And in my opinion, this was my how it worked now slide from last time. In my opinion, it didn't change anything. It didn't change anything because of the text here. Any models that remain in the fighting rank after casualties have been removed are more likely to be in base contact with the enemy, having closed in upon them in this direction. And this would, of course, mean that when it came to it, a model that has stepped into the fighting rank, being 11 to 15, cannot attack. Models that were in the fighting rank already, which was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, are more likely to be in base-to-base contact. They have closed in. They can therefore make their full attacks. That's what I said last time. I have lots and lots of comments over the last 24 hours. People have said, no, 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 this is just flavor text. I didn't find that convincing. People saying, no, everyone stands still. The phrase closed in upon them doesn't mean to move. I think when you close in on someone, it is asking you to move. The fact could only mean one thing. This is sort of a rules of intended over rules of written. I never find any of this convincing. Pretty much given up on it. I'd read like 50 messages on Facebook alone, probably 100 in the Discord servers. And in my opinion, it was 100%, rules as written. And, probably 60, 70% rules as intended was saying that I was wrong. But to me, you just take the rules as written. And that was that. And then a guy called Abe said to me, yeah, but in 1.4, Fighting Order 1.4, read this paragraph. And the paragraph says, when the casualties are removed, which is what step 1.4 to remove casualties, check to see if there are any models with a lower initiative and still to fight this combat. If there are, you repeat steps 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. Well, what does that mean? Well, step 1.1 is who can fight and how many attacks they have. This is all under step 1.1. Now, it doesn't say at the start of this anyway, oh, you do this one at a time, or you do this together, or, higher initiative goes first, or anything like that. And so my assumption had always been, obviously you don't go 1.1 higher, 1.1 lower, 1.2 higher, 1.2 lower, 1.3, because that would make casualties redundant. So I thought you went 1.2, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 for the higher initiative, then 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 for the lower initiative. But as Abe pointed out, no, you only repeat steps 1.2, which can only mean, not very clear, but really the only way to look at it is when you do 1.1, you do it for both at the same time. What does this mean? So 1.1 is you work out the attacks. So I've got here in brackets how many attacks everybody has. The elves charged, they have 1 attack each as their base. The Saurus received it. They have 2 because they're in base-to-base contact. They are because they received the charge. That is also a fighting rank, but they're not in base-to-base, so they have 1 each. So it's 5 attacks versus 15. The elves then swing and they kill 5 Saurus. Step 4 becomes remove casualties. Now, this rule is still in place. It doesn't change, and I still think it works the way I've always said that it works, which is 11 to 15 are essentially stepping forward into the fighting rank, and 6 to 10 are more likely to end up in base-to-base contact, and so they close in. They are now in base-to-base contact. Nevertheless, we are now going to 1.2. We've already worked out what the attacks were for Saurus 6 to Saurus 10, so we don't repeat that. So the fact that it's changed and they are now in base-to-base contact isn't altering the amount of attacks they have, because we are not repeating step 1.1 where we work out what attacks they have. We simply start swinging away, which means the Saurus have 5 attacks back, which means I'm happy because I finally, come on board of the community's opinion, even though it was just Abe to actually quote this bit of rules to me. But I think he's right. I think it's the way that it works. And I think it's more sensible. I think my Sauruses are going to be much more likely to charge now with the initiative of one. We virtually never would. We would only ever receive charges. I would happily stand in front of an infantry block unless I was getting desperate to try to do something to win, because I needed that extra fighting rank. So, guys, play the old world. It's a great game.